great time of the year. Only 16 teams left playing baseball, and we're very excited that we're one of them. And so we're just preparing now to make sure we play our best baseball here at the end. So happy to answer questions.
Mark, since you've gotten back and kind of started scouting Arkansas and just about the Super experience, what have you heard from some of the guys who have played in the Supers a couple of years ago, or friends of yours that might have coached in them?
Well, I mean, I haven't really talked to our players much about it. This is 2018. We're going to Arkansas, and it's just a matter of playing great baseball for a series. So I don't want our guys thinking that it's anything different than another series at Arkansas where we need to play our best baseball. So coaches have been in the Super Regionals in Omaha. Some of the players have. So we'll be just fine in terms of being able to handle it.
When you look back at the regular season series, what do you think was the biggest difference that allowed them to get that series win?
Well, both teams really pitched well that weekend. The scores were very low. I believe it was 3-2, 2-0, and 3-0. So there were tough conditions to hit in that weekend. It was very cold. It was very rainy most of that weekend. So to me, it should be a much different series. The weather will be warmer. I would guess the ball will carry much better. So I think you'll see a little bit more offense this weekend.
Mark, I know it's early, but do you anticipate the starters lining up kind of like they did last weekend?
Most likely. We'll make that final decision here soon, but I think most likely we'll line it up the same way.
For TJ, I guess, what's his status going into this weekend? And
same.
Are there any other injuries?
No. Same status for TJ. He'll continue to help us in a smaller role, but no status change at this point.
Back center, Reggie. I know at this stage it doesn't matter who you play, you just want to get to Omaha, but is there an advantage, disadvantage to having played somebody that knows you so well and vice versa?
No, I don't think so. I think they know us, we know them, and it's just a matter of who plays the best baseball. I don't think there's any edge for either side in terms of having played 4 games already together.
Mark, for you guys, obviously it's the third day of the draft, and kids are on their phones and they're looking, and naturally, I mean, that's their future. How do you kind of take the focus away from the draft, or do you not try to take the focus away from the draft these couple of days?
No, I don't think you can show these kids that all you care about is South Carolina baseball and winning games. I think you need to, as a coach and as a program, understand that's a part of the process. That's one of the reasons why they come to play for staffs and programs, is to help get to that point someday. So we're not going to minimize the importance of the draft. It's very important to these kids, and we're going to support them. Once the draft is over, then and the dust has settled, then we can kind of take a step back and all refocus on playing our best baseball as a team this weekend. But we're here to support these guys and help them chase their dreams for pro baseball. And so when it's the right time and guys get drafted in the right spots for them, we're going to support that, obviously.
Jeff and Will.
LT took a ball in the face in game 1 and stayed in the ball game, and I know he's been nicked up from time to time this year and keeps on playing every single game. What does that say about his toughness and the impact he's had on this team this year?
Yeah, tremendous toughness. He's been a great team guy for us from the get-go this year. Believe he started opening night at first base. So he's really evolved as a player, as a person this year. He's done everything we've asked as a teammate for this team, playing different positions. And as you mentioned, he's as tough as they get. He's had a lot of reasons maybe to bring himself out of a ball game, and he always wants to stay in. And so obviously with the help of trainers, you never put a guy out there if he shouldn't be out there for health reasons. And our athletic trainer, Brainerd, has never said, hey, he has to come out of the game. But if he did, LT still would have given you a fight that he doesn't want to come out. So tough as nails, has really evolved as a person and a player this year.
What have you seen, or at least what did you see Monday from Carmen, and does that performance kind of inch him? I know I'm not asking you to predict the future, but does that performance kind of inch him ahead of Logan in your eyes for a potential decisive game start if that happens?
Well, I mean, Jeff just asked the question, would we stay with the same rotation, this weekend? Most likely. His last 2 starts now have been really good for Carmen, both in the SEC tournament and then this past weekend. He was really good. So Logan and Carmen have both been very important freshmen for us all year, and they will continue to be. We're not ready to name that Game 3 starter yet, but based on how Carmen has been pitching as of late, it might lean that way, but they're both extremely important for us.
Marco, what has made Cody so good? I guess this past month and a half, maybe 5 starts. Is it just a change in his mechanics, or has he just been throwing the ball better?
Well, I think he's gotten a better feel for his mechanics as the year's gone on. He's gotten a better feel for how to prepare for starts. I think his mechanics have gotten better, but I think his confidence has really grown as the year has gone on. He's had success, which then led to more confidence, which led to more success. So to me, at the end of the day, he's got good stuff. He's now a confident pitcher, and his control has gotten better as the year has gone on too. His walks have gone down, and that's been a huge part of his success.
Now that you've had a few days, Coach, to kind of settle in and get past the fact you're going to the Super Regionals, can you kind of describe your emotions and kind of your thoughts going from where you guys were at just barely over 500 at about the midway part of the season as to now preparing for the Super Regionals?
I'm just happy that this team is getting a chance to have this success because they could have mailed it in a long time ago, and they didn't. They refused to give in. They continued to make adjustments. We had to, I said this the other day, we had to circle the wagons, and we did that, and we started playing really good baseball, and we started putting guys in some different roles, and some guys started stepping up, and we started to get healthy. So it was just one thing after another started to build that momentum, and the fact that we're here now as only one of 16 teams playing, I think is a great lesson for our team going into the future, that there's never, ever a reason to give in, because if you keep fighting, things can turn around.
Mark, the regionals really proved how good the SEC this year has been this year, particularly the 2 seeds and so forth that did well. Can you talk about your emphasis on the conference series, and do you think the RPI takes too much into account the midweek games?
I don't know at this point. I don't know that it's probably above my pay grade to make any major decisions on the RPI. I think at times RPI can be a good gauge on teams. At times it's not. At the end of the day, I think the SEC has prepared all of us to really do well in the postseason. When you have to play the caliber of SEC teams every week for 10 straight weeks, it makes you a better team. So then when you go to a regional and you're facing non-SEC teams, you feel very prepared. I think you feel very confident. So I think going through that grind definitely prepares teams for the SEC. For the NCAA tournament.
We've talked a lot about the seniors over the course of the last month and a half, but how vital have they been over this stretch during the regionals and heading into the supers, and how nice was it for a guy like Madison to get rewarded for the hard work that he put in this year getting drafted yesterday?
Yeah, tremendous. Once again, as a coach, there's a lot of things you're motivated by. You're motivated by helping your players graduate. You're motivated by helping your players achieve their dream of getting to pro baseball. You're motivated by trying to help your team and your program get to Omaha. So to see that a lot of those things are happening right now, it's a great time right now. And so we just want to continue to build on it. We want to continue to help our players, and we want to continue to build this program into one of the best.
On those lines, speaking of Madison, obviously, he's not drafted last year. He gets a top 10 round pick this year, playing a super regional. Do you remember, obviously probably remember early conversation with all your players when you arrived. With him specifically, where was he at mentally at that point, and what goals did you want to have for him going into his senior year?
Well, I knew that he had a tough junior year. He had hoped to be drafted, and he wasn't. And I think it was motivating for him. And I think he wanted some guidance and what does he need to work on, what needs to get better. And he worked extremely hard. So, my impression of him from the get-go was that he was a very mature kid. He had a goal, and that was to try to help this program and get to pro baseball. And he's obviously done that this year. So I think he's put in the work, and he's getting his just due at this point.
Mark, kind of here in the front, Mark.
Sorry.
Yeah, kind of along those same lines. I know you know how much this core group has kind of suffered and been a little bit maligned over the last couple of years. What kind of feelings do you have for them and what they've accomplished here and triumphed over adversity?
Yeah, again, very happy for them. They're getting the things they deserve right now because they've worked for it. They've earned it. They've made adjustments. They've improved. They stuck together. All those things help lead you to success. So to me, I'm just glad that they're getting the success that they deserve, because sometimes you put everything you have into it and it still doesn't go your way. So to see these guys get rewarded for all of their hard work and perseverance, to me, that's what you're looking for as a coach.
How do you prepare this team, and how do you get the guys to play this weekend as if it's hard to say, but a normal SEC series, obviously with so much on the line.
Well, you go about your business the same way you have all year. You don't change things. You don't try to create new slogans at this point or new practice plans. You stay with what has gotten you here. You stay consistent. To me, that's what players want. They want consistency. They want to know what to expect. They want to be in a routine. And so we won't change anything about our routine this week.
It seems like every team that gets to this point of the season has a guy who is a bullpen shutdown guy, but then also can give you some length. How much has Eddie developed into that role, been comfortable with that role, and really been a vital part of your success?
Eddie's been a big guy. He's our swing man at this point. Sometimes he closes out the game. Sometimes you need to bring him in the 6th inning to get you out of jams. So his versatility has been really important for us in terms of just almost using him in what are very high leverage situations. Sometimes a game can be lost in the 6th if you give up a run or two. So with us, the key for us is that not only has Eddie developed into that kind of guy, but Graham Lawson has, Sawyer Bridges has. We've had Richard Chapman has got us some really big outs late in games. So that versatility among all those guys has really been one of the keys to our success.
Circling back to the draft a little bit, I know there's been some contention about when to have the MLB draft, with it being right in the middle of the NCAA tournament. What's your opinion on that, and do you kind of like where it falls right now?
I mean, I would like the draft to go so guys don't have to, be on their phone during a game. The game we were watching the other night, I think the Ole Miss pitcher found out during the game that he had been drafted. The Florida player had, same way. I think the Major League Baseball has tried to improve it some, and I think this past weekend we had some rain and there were some really late games going on at about the same time. I think their intention is to try to not have them both going on at the same time. I just think it's, for the most part, Major League Baseball and college baseball have worked very well together. I just think there's always ways to try to make sure we improve the process.
Mark, for you, when you took the job, did you think Super Regionals year one was a pretty reasonable expectation, or did you expect Omaha year one, or did you expect maybe a regional year one? What was your kind of expectation coming into year one?
Well, when I took the job, I needed to get in here and see what we were inheriting. I needed to see who was back, who was coming in. We needed to watch a lot of video and figure out what this team was. Obviously, when I first got here, the first thing you saw was a stat sheet that had most of the pitchers coming off of it from last year. You knew a lot of hitters were coming back, but we didn't return a 300 hitter. So we knew we had some work to do, but our goal when we take over a program is just you want to make sure you maximize everything, and you never want to put a ceiling on what kids can do, because kids surprise you sometimes, and teams sometimes get energized, and sometimes guys get a lot better over the course of a year than maybe you expect. So we didn't put any ceiling on what we thought we could do. We just wanted to make sure we maximize the program. If that meant regional, great. If it means super regional, great. If it means getting Omaha, great. That's what we'll do. But our goal is never just to say we have to get to Omaha. Our goal is to try to recruit the best players we can, prepare them, and then help this team and a program maximize its potential.
Just wondering what the past couple of days have been like for Danny, and do you feel like he might feel a little bit more pressured this week with more eyes and more attention on him after the regional?
No, Danny will be fine. Just once again, that's another guy I'm very happy for, because he's been a great teammate even when he wasn't getting playing time. So that's another great story on this journey for us this year of a guy that kept working, kept a positive attitude, and was rewarded with that MVP.
Have you seen anything different on Arkansas on film that is different from when you played them, not just a couple weeks ago in Hoover, but previously in Fayetteville?
No, they're very good. They pitch well, they hit well, they play good defense, they're well coached. It's a complete team, so it'll take our best effort.
Any other questions? Okay.
Does Danny stay in the role he's in now, leadoff guy?
Yeah. Yeah, now obviously Noah still is very much in the mix and very important to our offense. But I'm a big believer that if you're playing well, just ride guys that are playing well and reward those guys.
With this weekend being, one of the biggest in this program's history, going towards having a chance to play in another College World Series if you win these next two games, how do you temper the emotion and kind of keep guys kind of focused on the task at hand.
You just stay consistent at the end of the day, and we talked about that. You just stay consistent. If you make it seem bigger, then guys will get nervous and press. You just stay status quo. We work hard at all times, throughout the course of the year. So there's not another gear to go to make these guys feel like they have to do more. At this point, it's just a matter of letting all the training carry you through. Keep your mind set. Make sure nothing gets too fast for you. Make sure you slow yourself down and breathe when you need to. At the end of the day, this is about execution, nothing more.
Any more questions? All right, thanks.
All right, thank you.